All right, everyone. My name is Jessica Landeros. I am a consultant here with Implementation Specialist, and I'd like to welcome you all to the 2020 Payroll Year-End Refresher. Just so you guys are aware, there are a couple of handouts attached to this webinar. The first handout will be just the instructions for closing payroll. The second handout includes the instructions for closing all of the modules, including payroll. They are in a Word document format so that you guys can mark them up and make them your own. But I wanted to make you guys aware that those are out there. They are recaptures of the articles that are posted for knowledge base articles by Microsoft. However, there are a couple of updates that they kind of missed, and so I updated them, especially in the 1099 NEC area for payables. All right, with that said, let's get started. I have been a consultant for about 15 years on Dynamics GP, although I started with Implementation Specialist on October 30th of this year. I am not new to the industry, and I have had a great time while I've been here, and I'm thoroughly enjoying myself meeting all of you new clients, and this has been a great opportunity. Let's go ahead and get started with our session agenda. We'll talk about what year-end changes have happened and what the supported versions are. There are a couple that we'll go into a little more detail in, specifically the box 14 that they've opened up so that you can track your Family First CARES Act or Coronavirus Act pay, and the ACA for the 1099 or 1095 form changes. And then we'll just recapture what the year-end process is. There's one thing that you should do now, and there's one thing that you should never do until you are finished with your last payroll of this year. So, supported versions. Microsoft has released the 2020 year-end updates for the Microsoft Dynamics GP without a version number. That was formerly known as GP 2018, 2018 RTM or 2018 R2. They actually do have version numbers when you open the screen. They're just a little number at the bottom. And so this one is actually version 18.3 if you are on that modern life cycle. If you're on Dynamics GP 2016, they have updated that as well. There is no updates for GP 2015 or older. So if you need a payroll update, contact us about scheduling an upgrade. All right, what's new? What the big news is that they created a new form in payables for the 1099s. Previously, you would report non-employee compensation on your 1099 miscellaneous box 7. They have updated it, so now that the IRS has requested a separate form for that. So now it's reported in a 1099 NEC box 1. As the update is installed, it will turn your 1099 box 7s over into the 1099 NEC box 1. You do not need to do that manually. However, we do recommend that you still go through the process of reviewing. They have updated the fixed asset luxury tax auto depreciation calculation, and in payroll. We have opened up box 15 so that you can report the payroll wages for the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. I believe I actually said it right this time. There's also a 2020 payroll line 41 format change, as the IRS has added 2 additional lines to report the sick pay and the time off pay in regards to that act. The ACA form has also been updated along with the instructions. There are no W-2 or W-3 forms changes. So if you are a smaller employer and you don't need to report ACA, you only need to worry about those W-2 or W-3 form changes. There are none this year. The other thing is that there is no magnetic media changes. All right, so let's talk about the ACA changes. So the ACA changes have included that the instructions that print out have changed. They have added a zip code. This is only for the new codes for the ACA. It does not pertain to the old codes per the IRS. However, I apologize. I thought my screen was being shown. Can everybody see my screen? Let's see. Okay, there we go.
I can see your screen, Jessica.
Thank you. I apologize. You should now be seeing the ACA form. Okay, thank you for letting me know. So the ACA changes. The instruction information has changed. Previously to this, there were no screenshots, so you guys didn't miss much, just bullet points on what I just talked about. So they have added a zip code field, which you'll see right here. They've only added the zip code for new codes. What this will do is look at the employee's record and pull the zip code off of their primary address. So you'll want to make sure that that is there for your employees. There is a start plan month that is now required. That start plan month will be calculated by GP and print out. There's nothing you need to do there. It will be calculated just based off of the data that is collected through GP. The dependents have been moved onto their own page, so they will not be printed on the main form. Employees' ages are required. So you will want to verify your employee records and make sure that the birth date has been updated for all of your employees who are getting a 1095-C this year, because that birth date is calculated off of the employee's age is calculated off of the birth date. They have added the new codes, and the due date for the 1095-C is now March 2nd of 2021. All right. There's another note on the family, I'm just going to call it FFCRA, Family First Coronavirus Response Act. As you guys may be aware, you have had to report back any wages for sick time or time off for the Family First Coronavirus Response Act. You have probably set up pay codes to help track that. However, previously, Box 14 was not available on pay codes. It was only available on business expense types. So what they've done is that they've opened up Box 14 for all pay codes. So what you'll want to do is go into your pay code setup and update that Box 14 for those codes that you have set up to track that FFCRA, those FFCRA payments to your employees. But update it with Box 4, put in your W-2 label. Don't use COVID. That's not the actual label you would want to use. The IRS doesn't actually designate a label, but COVID is probably not what you want to use. And then you can hit save and it will roll down into all the pay codes that are there. So just be aware though that that box is open for all pay codes. That does not mean Box 14 should be on all pay codes. It should only be on your FFCRA pay codes. All right, so let's talk about the year-end closing checklist. There is one thing that I want everybody to do as soon as they possibly can, and that's just to make sure that you have installed the 2020 payroll tax update. As your W-2s are calculated, and as you guys may be aware, the rates for FICA the limits do change. You do want to go in and do this. So to do this, you're going under Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, Setup, System, and Payroll Tax. If that last tax update is 6/26 of 2020, you're good. If it's something older than that, you would want to go ahead and do that update. Now, do not do this after the first of the year, or you're going to get the new update for the 2021 year. The limits have changed. So that will change how your taxes calculate. So check now, but do not do the tax update after the 2020 or after January 1st, 2021 until your last payroll for 2020 is processed. I'm going to remind you of that a little later, so I apologize for repeating. So you guys may all know that you want to complete your pay runs for the current year. You want to complete all your month-end, period-end, and quarter-end procedures for the current year. And then you'll want to make a backup of the original file. Dynamics GP does have the ability to make a backup from your own desktop. If you go to GP's, Maintenance, and Backup, you'll get a screen that looks just like this. You will choose your company name, which the system database is actually Dynamics database. You should have your own company name. And then if you want to save it on your PC, we'll go ahead and choose local storage and choose a location. I would then recommend you take that backup and move it to someplace else. That way would just make sure that it's safe and secure. And in the instructions, it will actually recommend what to name your backups, just so you guys can easily locate them if there's a problem. If something happens where your W-2 data gets damaged, somebody goes in and messes around with payroll and removes records, if you have that backup, us as consultants can usually help you restore whatever happened, because we can take that backup and look at what was in there. You'll want to verify your W-2s and your 1099 statement information. You'll want to print the W-2 statements, and you'll want to print the 1099-R forms. So I'm going to switch over to Dynamics GP here. There we go. Sorry about that. So here in Dynamics GP, under your HR and payroll, you're going to have your year-end closing items here. Now, there's one step that apparently I missed in here, and that is after you do your last run of 2020, you're going to want to run the process of year-end closing, which will create your wage file. Until you create your wage file, you're not going to be able to edit your W-2s or print your W-2s or see your 1099-Rs. So I apologize. That was a mistake in my slide deck. After you have ran your last payroll for the year, create this wage file. Now, there are circumstances in which you need to create a check for the 2020 year after you've closed 2021. If you ever need to do that, we do recommend that you contact us. We have a way to back up this year-end wage file so that it can be removed and then it can be recreated and we can restore it to what it was. So if that happens, give us a call. Anyway, you're going to go ahead and click the process button to create your year-end wage file. Mine has actually already been created. And then you're going to go in and you can edit or print your W-2s. Now, you all might know that if you choose the 2027, I think I might have this open already. Oh, there we go. You print your W-2 forms, choose your one wide forms with box. It will actually print the W-2s with the layout. So you do not need to go out and purchase separate forms anymore. All right. Then you can edit your W-2s and your 1099-Rs if you need to. The reason why we tell you to contact us if there is an issue with you need to cut a check for the previous year is that any edits would be lost. And so it's hard to tell what those edits are. So the best thing to do is let us back that up for you. They can do we can remove that year-end file. You can fix what you need to fix, and then we can restore that 1099 that year-end wage file that would include the check you just cut. All right. After you create your 1099s, you will probably want to file electronically if you're not using a third-party provider. If you want to file electronically, you're going to go to the GP Tools, Routines, Payroll Electronic File W-2. You will get a screen that looks just like this. You'll enter your reporting year, choose a place to save that file. You're going to put in a user ID number. This used to be known from the IRS as the PIN number. Same number. So if you don't have that PIN, you'll want to contact the employer services for the Social Security Administration and get that. You're gonna have this button right here that says Submitter that will light up. When you click on that, that's where you will put your company information. And then you can go ahead and save that if you're not ready to create that file, or you can go ahead and create that file. You should then be able to take that file and upload it right to the IRS website to file your W-2s. All right, so after you have gone through the year-end close, and this is after your last payroll, but before your first payroll of 2021, you're going to want to go through and do that automatic update. Now, if you do this automatic update right now, you're going to get that June 20th update. So if your screen that we talked about previously is not your June 20th update, go ahead and run this now. But after December 31st, do not run this again until you finished your last payroll for 2020. What this will do is go through and download your tax types. This is found under the Microsoft Dynamics GP, Maintenance, US Payroll Updates, Check for Tax Updates. You'll get this option here that will say Automatic. You'll click Next. It will then ask for an authorization number. For companies who have been using GP for a long time, that authorization number is usually just your phone number. But if you don't know what that authorization number is, you can always contact us and we can let you know what it is. You click next and then you'll get a screen saying that the tax tables have been updated. And then you can always go back into the screen that we referenced previously to check that the date has changed. All right. There was a question of if we have a slide deck. I do have a slide deck. I can post that up to the handouts here. Give me 1 second here and I can upload that. Are there any questions about the payroll year-end update procedures? I know that this was a very short session, but I think we did cover everything that has changed. There's not a whole lot of changes. So if you guys have any direct questions, let me know. You can use the question box, you can use the chat, anything you'd like. All right, you guys should now be seeing that slide deck in the handout. All right, if there are no further questions then, I'm gonna hang out here for just a little longer, but I wanna thank you all for attending. If you can't get to the handouts for whatever reason, you can always shoot me an email. My email address is jessica@iscorp.biz, just JESSICA. And of course, you can always reach us by phone or email and let us know about any questions you have. Thank you. We do have a question. If you've never filed your W-2s electronically, so the IRS has been requiring the W-2s to be filed electronically for some time. There are certain companies that are exempt from that. If you have not filed your W-2s electronically, you will want to make sure that you do have the website set up from the Social Security Administration for your company. I can't remember what the exact name of the website is, but if you, it's the Social Security Administration, the Employer Services side, you want to make sure to get a PIN number from them. If you haven't had a PIN number before, they will give that to you. It does usually come in the mail and takes a little bit of time. Once you have that PIN number from the IRS, everybody can be able to create the file within Dynamics GP. It's not something that is a pay-per-use or anything like that. If you have a third-party product like Green Shades or you use Integrity Data, they often do the W-2 and IRS filings for you. And so you may not have ever had to do this process before if you're using one of those providers. If you have any questions about that, you can always email me at jessica@premiercomputing.com and we can set up a time to chat and take a look at your system. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.